Getting around. The Book of the Dead includes little mention of how you traverse the DUAT. It seems that you are meant to undertake your journey on foot or by boat on the river. Nevertheless, if you ever become tired of walking or suffer from seasickness, you can magically transform into a variety of forms. Spell 13 allows you to become a falcon or a phoenix. Spell 77 transforms you into a falcon of gold, 4 cubits long, and with wings formed of a green stone. Spell 79 allows you to become an elder of the tribunal. Spell 81A and B lets you turn into a lotus. Spell 83 transforms you into a phoenix. Spell 84 a heroine. Spell 85 into a living soul who will enter the place of execution. Spell 86 a swallow. Spell 87 a snake. Spell 88 a crocodile. You might even take the form of gods such as Atum or Ptah. Finally, just to cover all bases, Spell 76 allows you to transform into whatever shape you desire. At various points in your journey, however, the celestial ferryman complicates your travel plans. When meeting him, his name is Mahaf. The book says that you must ask him to go and wake up Aquin, who is in charge of the ferry. But before he leaves to awaken Aquin, Mahaf starts making excuses as to why the boat isn't worthy. Ask him to bring the built-up boat of Kahum from the lake of Feet, and Manas will tell you that it is in pieces and stored in the dockyard. When Mahaf points out that she has no planks, she has no end pieces, she has no rubbering pieces, she has no loop, and must remember to remind him her planks are the drops of moisture which are on the lips of Babi. Her end pieces are the hair which is under the tail of Seth. Her rubbing pieces are the sweat which is on the ribs of Babi. Bye-bye, Babi. Bye-bye. Her raw loops are the hands of the female counterpart of Horus. She is built by the eye of Horus, who shall steer her for me. According to the book, Mahaf will then become worried about who will guard his boat, to which you should suggest the undefined Semitic animal. Later, Mahaf argues that the weather is windy and the boat has no mast. You should respond by telling him to bring the phallus of Babai, so that will do the job admirably. After some time, Mahaf will relent and leave will leave to fetch Aquin. What is Aquin? Will say, I was asleep. Aquin, far from being your sensible savior, introduces his own problems, one being the lack of a bailer, leaving you to suggest a solution as usual. Even when the boat finally arrives, your problems aren't over yet. For you can go sailing. Each component of the boat demands to be named. The locals, or the DENIZENS of the DUAT. In death, not only do you have to contend with the unfamiliar geography of the DUAT and deal with strange gate demons, but the general population around you are also rather a fearsome bunch. As you walk along the path, your way through the darkness, lit by magic, you might encounter creatures walking with backwards heads, their heads in their knees, who are demons known for serving heads, rebellious enemies who are a source of danger. So in addition to your garment, sandals, staff, and loincloth, the Book of the Dead urges you to bring all your weapons to sever their necks. Basically, any creature you meet could potentially be hostile. But as long as you know the demon's names, you gain control over him, turning him from a threat into a protector. In this manner, gods with names like he who burns up the rebellious, he who takes hearts for food, he who dances in blood, and he who hacks up, hunts human dead, becomes a little less intimidating. Demon animals also interfere and have to be fought off with the power of spells, backed up with the threat of a large knife or spear. Crocodiles in particular might rob you of your magical ability. So if you ever become surrounded by a group of 8 crocodiles led by the one who lives in the underwearing stars, you should fight them off with your spears. As usual, when faced with a threat, knowing their names of your enemy is an advantage. Get back, retreat, get back, you dangerous one. Spell 31 relates about an encounter with a crocodile. Do not come against me. Do not live by my magic. May I not have to tell this name of yours to the great God who sent you. Messenger is the name of the one, and Bethany is the name of the other. Betty is the name of the other. There is also evil snakes, including the Rhetoric Snakes, whom you say, "O Rhetoric Snake, take yourself off. Forget protects me. Get up, for you have eaten a mouse, which Re detests, and you have chewed the bones of a portrait cat." One snake bites an ass and is referred to as he who swallowed an ass. At other times you must fight Apophis, assuming the identity of Re to do so. You might also get pestered by the Apshai beetle during the journey, but the spell to repel him is "Begone from me," or "Oh crooked lips, sorry. I am Kahun, Lord of Peshu, who dispatches the words of the god to Re, and I report affairs to their master. These are also afterlife demons that are to tempt you away from your Ma'at life behavior rather than just outright trying to kill you again. On one such being to look out for is the butler of the hostile dead, Geba, normally described as a being of black raven. He lives on excrement and tempts you to eat excrements too by explaining that it is excrements of Horus and Seth, and so presumably not that awful. This temptation is a common theme. At one point in the coffin text, the deceased is tempted to eat feces from the buttocks of Osiris. This reflects an upside-down world, a common aspect of the DUAT, but one that you must reject. You must also come across the demon Ayu, a manifestation of the living world reversed. He lives on feces, drinks urine as a tongue between his legs, and a phallus in his mouth. Ayu is said to have been in the belly of the Creator before existence came into being. He is eventually expelled like excrements and became the incarnation of the negative. Chesmu was a deity to be befriended rather than to make an enemy of. As god of wine and oil presses, you might expect that he be a loyal presence of the DUAT, and perhaps he is. But he has also put his presses to more bloody uses, squeezes the heads of the damned for one. He also butchers and cooks gods so that the king can eat their bodies and absorb their strength. On the other hand, he does supply the gods with perfume. Your judgment and life as an Ankh. Having navigated your way through the trials of the DUAT, you now reach your ultimate destination, the judgment hall of Osiris, called the Hall of the Double Justice. After being questioned, and after each part of the hall's gateway was demanded that you speak its name. For example, the door post will halt you, saying, "Will you not let you enter? We will not let you enter by us unless you tell our name." But you cannot answer. Plummet or Thoth is your name. The doorway asks to which God you should be announced. Tell it to the interpreter of the two lands. You should reply, "Who is the interpreter of the two lands? Is it Thoth?" Perhaps overhearing his name, Thoth now approaches to the question and questions you further. Now says Thoth, "Why have you come?" "I have come here to report you." Reply. "I have come here to report," you reply. "What is your condition?" "I am free of all wrongdoing. I avoided the strife of those in their day. I am not one of them. To whom shall I announce you? To him who roofed his fire, whose walls are living cobras, the floor of whose house is in the flood. Who is he? He is Osiris. Proceed, you are announced. The eye is in your bread. The eye is in your beer. The eye is in your offering on earth. The judgment of Osiris and the council of 42. Every god you serve on earth, you now see face to face. Harper songs from the tomb of Neferhotep. Judgment time. Clad in white garments and sandals, anointed with myrrh and adorned with black eye painted, you are escorted unto the hall of the double justice by Anubis, and quickly realize that it is arranged like a chapel. Its roof is supported by columns, its upper walls decorated with Mayat's feathers and rearing live cobras. 42 knives welding. Mummy-formed gods crunch in lines at each side of the hall. Human, crocodile, snake, and lion faces staring intently ahead, each wearing a Mayat feather atop a wig, while at the hall's center, further deities, more illustrious, formally observed your arrival. Instantly recognizable, thanks to his abyss head, Thoth stands closest to you, scribal, palettes in hand, ready to record the results of your trial. Beyond Osiris, green-skinned and wrapped in linen, gripping his crook and failed, sits enthroned beneath a canopy, approached by steps, silently watching proceeding. His sister Osiris and Nephis stands behind him. To be in the presence of such powerful forces alone might be enough to rattle the nerves, but it is the fearsome creatures I met that causes your hands and legs to tremble. This beast, with the head of a crocodile, the torso of a leopard, lion, and the hind parts of a hippopotamus, each a formidable creature on its own, crunches besides a set of scales, ready to devour you in your sinful acts in life, outweigh the feather of Maya. Her mouth is gaping, her teeth bared. She looks hungry. Osiris glaring on. You first declare your innocence to him as Lord of Truth, stating among other things that you have not done falsehood against men, not deprive an orphan of his property, not done what the gods detest, and have not killed or commanded to kill. On rays and adorations, you next approach of the 42 successor gods in turn, those who live and those who cherish evil and who gulp down their blood, announcing the names of each one and stated a particular sin that you did not commit. A false strider who came forth from Heliopolis. I have done no falsehood. You say to the first god in the line, O fire embracer who came forth from Karaha, I have not robbed. You say to the next, and so on, to Nosy from Hermopolis. You have not been I'm sorry, I'm trying to pronounce this word. Rapacious to Fury I from Letopolis. You have done no crookedness to bone breakers from Heracropolis. These names. Heracleopolis. You have not told lies to the eater of entrails from the house of 32. You have not committed perjury among the 42 transgressors are babbling, being swollen, stealing, bread, misbehaving, eavesdropping, being impatient, being a loud voice, alongside the more serious sounding killing a sacred bull, blasphemy in your city, and conjuring magic against the king. Finally, just to be absolutely clear on the matter, you declare your innocence a further time, this time of addressing all gods in the hall, and cheerfully, perhaps over cheerfully, reminding them that you gulp down truth. Once you have appeased the 42 gods, it is time to stand before Osiris again. Anubis sets up the scales, and Thoth, now in baboon form, squats on top of the pole at their center and perhaps besides them. Painlessly, your heart leaves your body and gently floats over to the left hand scale pan. For some, this might be the same time to start worrying, but luckily for you, your mummy was well prepared for this eventuality. Spell 30 inscribed on a heart scrabby place above your true heart, within the mummy's wrappings, magically forces it to hide all your wrongdoing, leaving an unblemished record to be recited before Osiris. Do not stand up as a witness against me, the spell reads, addressing the heart. Do not be opposed to me in the tribunal. Do not be hostile to me in the presence of the keepers of the balance. And so with a confident smile, you watch your heart balance against the feather of my aunt. Your afterlife is assured. Thought, now human body and abyss headed again, jots down the results on his papyrus scroll and turns to address the great Ennet, announcing that he has judged your heart and your deed have been found to be righteous. In proclaiming In proclaiming, he notes that you haven't taken offerings from the temples or told lies when alive. He, in need, convinced, accepts the judgment of, and Horus brings you once more before Osiris, telling him that your heart has been shown to be true, without a sin committed against any deity. Thoth has recorded the judgment. Thoth has recorded the judgment, and need has been told, and the goddess Mayat has witnessed events. Bread and beer shall be awarded you, so you can spend eternity like a follower of Horus. Now comes your turn to speak directly to the gods. Here I am in your presence, O Lord of the West. There is no wrongdoing in my body. I have not wittingly told lies. There has been no second fault. Grant that I be like the favorite one who are in your suite, O Osiris, one greatly favored by the good God, one loved of your Lord of the two lands. Book of the Dead, spell 30b. The God now announce you as a true voice, a follower of Osiris, and also rather kindly give back your heart. The God attuned physical creation itself ties a wreath of flowers around your head, and then finally executed yet jubilant. You are free to go on your way, leaving through a door at the far end of the hall, opposite the one through which you entered. I'm so sorry. This just feels so close to my heart. Beyond a transfigured spirit, successful before your tribal, you exit the hall of judgment as a member of the blessed dead. Your Ba and your Ka spirits has been reunited, and you have been declared an Ankh, reserved for only those who pass the judgment test. Not all of the dead hold the status of Ankh. Those who fail to find their way through the DUAT, who fail to combine their Ba and Ka, and thus remain eternally non-transfigured, are classified as Mut dead, while those judged unworthy receive a second death, obligated from existence via the sharp teeth and bowels of Amet, or after a period of torture in the DUAT and in the hands of the slayers of Osiris, sharp of fingers in the slaughter place of the god. Aku and enemies. The aim of the The aim of every Egyptian was to become an Ankh rather than an enemy. The word Ankh, plural, Anku, is difficult to translate. It seems not to designate a new resolution of being, a new evolution of being, but rather a status conferred upon the deceased, regarded as a person that has become one with the light and Ankh, existed in a glorified state, effective and transfigured and free to travel and dwell anywhere it wished, whether that be with the gods in the skies or the DUAT or among the living on earth. Enemies of order, a class of people, rather than those judged unworthy or a blessed state, exited at all times as representatives of chaos. These enemies receive constant punishment rather than a second death, being forced to eat their own excrements or walk upside down. The god drank their blood, and their flesh was cooked, placing their enemies in cardons. Appears to have been a typical punishment in the DUAT. In the Book of Caverns, 3 sets of cardons are depicted, each held aloft by arm emerging of the ground. They call arms of the place of annihilations. The first caldron contained the heads and hearts of the enemies. The second, the upside down decapitated and bound enemies themselves. And the third, the flesh of Ba, souls, and the shadows of the enemies of Re and Osiris. So if you pass the judgment, I'll read this in the next is cutting off at my video is gonna cut off right now, but I just wanted to say this is I'm reading this book, and it's taking me to a place where I'm at this moment in my life. I could see how I have shedded so much. I have defeated so many. Kept my heart pure. I had to go through the shadows of death to reach God. I had to die in order to live again, but live purely. Live with a clean heart. This is our purpose on this planet. Many are asleep, but many will waken up. And they have to go through so much to reach. It's not easy. It's not. But when your intentions are good, when you have a good heart, when you have faith in your Father, there's nothing that's impossible. We are being judged at this moment. And many are being faced at this moment with judgment. There's trials going on in people's lives. And people keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and they're not getting it. And a lot of them are going to face whatever they put out. It's judgment time. My aunt is here. Hearts are being weighed in. You cannot pass the door to heaven if you have not come clean. If you have not learned your lessons down here. Oh well. Okay, so I'll do it'll be now what? The next 38 minutes. Whatever's left, the book is ending, so not much left is to say after. I'm just very, very thankful and very grateful. I hope by you guys that know my reading has not been 100, and you know what, I'm not perfect, and I will never portray myself as perfect. I read this book as, if I stumble my words, that's who I am. I will never ever be something that I'm not. I'm not perfect. But I hope that for those who are awakening understand what the Egyptians were trying to say. As an Egyptian, I feel the energy of my ancestors, and as a reincarnated, I feel this energy, and this is what we're here for. We're here to balance out the scales, balance out this planet. Balance your life.